Frankie, CWDJ. Thank you for joining us this evening.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, well, anytime. And, obviously podcast, very experienced.
Yes.
Know your way around it.
Yeah, a little bit.
And your podcast was the first one that I'd ever been on.
And you were so good at it.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was perfect. Everybody was like, what is that app? They were asking me about it. So, yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, and actually we had vendors reach out afterwards that hadn't heard of us yet. So it was such a great way to get in touch with more people. And it was fun.
Yeah,
I liked it.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
We had a good time.
Yeah.
What is it? Ugly Monkeys?
Sour monkeys.
Sour monkeys.
Oh my God, they're so good.
Where are those at?
I know, right? I should get them. I've been on this lemonade truly phase.
Yeah.
What's better than that is High Noon.
Really?
Yes. And
Okay.
I tag High Noon, Barstool, and Portnoy all the time.
Yeah.
And they're not giving them to me.
Give me a sponsorship.
That's what I'm saying. I was like, I'll plug your drink, because they're like Trulies, but better because they don't have the malt liquor. It's vodka.
Oh.
So you don't feel like shit after drinking them.
Right.
But they don't have them in North Carolina.
Well, you got to get them imported here.
Well, I'm trying.
Travel and bring them back.
Well, they have them, I think, in all the surrounding states. Somebody told me that I should go. I think Virginia. They're like, oh yeah, it's only 2.5 hours. I'm like, driving 2.5 hours to get a truly equivalent.
It's like trying to go get fireworks for 4th of July.
Yeah, there's 1,000 things I'd rather be doing.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, but anyway, so that's my little tangent on Trulies and drinks. But it's not, the lemonade ones aren't bad, so I like them. So tell me, I know we were just talking a little bit about some things that you've been seeing in your space, and I'm really excited to have you here. I think you can give such a good perspective of the vendor side and not only wedding industry vendors, but just small business in general.
Business, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, we're thinking about maybe helping small businesses here in the future too, and kind of get on a level that they're not on.
Yeah.
Things like that, helping them out. Yeah. Because there's so many missed opportunities for people. And I always see their social media pages and their websites, and they could use just a little bit of a facelift. Yeah. They're doing the right thing, but they have an opportunity to reach so many more people.
Yeah. And it's so hard because, and we've gone through a few iterations of this with Bride Genie, first, there's so many different things when you're trying to launch a business that you're focusing on.
Right.
So you make the website a little bit better, and then you make the social media a little bit better, and then you're focusing on your product line, and then you're like, oh wait, our website's still not very good. So you go back and give that an uplift, and it's this process.
Exactly. And one of the things that we do every day, part of the business, is we delegate certain time per day for social media. So that's included in our schedule of work. Mm-hmm. So we don't just let it slip by, or oh, it's 9:00 at night, I forgot to post something. No, that's scheduled and prepared, and we know a week ahead of time, what are we going to post up? What kind of content? How are we going to reach out to past brides and their photographers and get footage from the wedding and things like that? So yeah, it's all a planned process, but it is time consuming.
It really is, because I don't think people realize until they're actually running a small business that it's not just about posting, but it's the quality of the content.
It is.
Because you can post 1,000 things a day, and if it's not good, you're not going to grow your followers, and people aren't going to engage with it. So, and that's a whole learning curve in itself.
Yeah. And even the hashtag thing, a lot of people are hashtagging wrong. They're including it on the original post when it should be the first comment on the post, things like that. And people are unaware of how many they can use at one time. And even there's even some food companies, they'll hashtag food truck. You have to be more specific than Raleigh food truck, Raleigh and seafood truck. You have to specifically reach the target audience that you're trying to reach. There's many things you can do.
Yeah, and I don't think people realize, I don't even know the reason. Why are people putting the hashtags in the comment rather than on the post? Yeah,
so it just makes it more clean. So you want the comment of the post to just be exactly what your message that you're trying to present to somebody. Mm-hmm. So basically, when you have it cluttered with dots and hashtags and things like that, the message isn't as clear.
Yeah.
So you want to make it more professional, and what you do is on the next comment after the main paragraph of the post, you'll put dot enter. This way it keeps it clean, and what that does is it'll just show you, if I did it to my own post, it'll say CWDJ ... It won't show you the hashtags because I've put all those dots before it. Oh. So it's not going to be oh, there's a post and there's a million hashtags. This guy is trying to promote himself. Yeah, there's such a formula to everything, and I've researched so many things.
Does this one have it? Do you know?
That one may not have it.
Scott, see if you can find a photo that has a comment on it, because then it probably was one that you did that for.
Right, exactly. And certain ones we don't, because actually certain ones we use for sponsoring and boosting posts. So you don't want a lot of hashtags with that either, because then it looks like an ad and it looks like promotional stuff. So you really want to be careful of what you're hashtagging and when you're using it too.
Yeah. That's so, and you can see that you have the dots before that.
Right. And so if you're on your phone looking, which, 90% of people are doing instead of on the computer, it'll show you just, if I was the first person to make a comment on there, it'll say my post, and then the next one would be ... and you have to click like the more information button to see all those hashtags,
which most people probably aren't doing.
Right.
So it keeps it looking clean.
So nobody sees it, but they're finding it still.
Yeah. Exactly. I like that. That's, I bet how many people, unless they've taken the steps to educate themselves on like the tips and tricks to social media.
Right.
I mean, I'm pretty sure we're just putting it in our post. So that's something I'm going to have to go back and be like, hey guys, go to Frankie's page and like, look at his post.
Copy everything he did.
Right. But I think that's a good point. Like, people don't realize that. And I know we've definitely tried to get more granular, like posting like NC photographer instead of just photographer,
right? Or
Raleigh photographer. If we're going to get even more specific.
Exactly. And the way that you have to look at it with that stuff is that when your brides are on social media and they're clicking hashtags, with a lot of people, they do that. That's how they find certain things. It's almost like a Google search on social media.
Right.
So basically, when they're clicking that hashtag, you don't want to just tag like wedding DJ or photographer, like you said, because then you're going to get photographers that are all over the United States, all over the world. So you want to target that specific audience. But I think part of the key to brand marketing is knowing what your target audience is, which is also another struggle for people. They don't know that demographic that they're trying to reach. So
yeah, and I think that's actually a good tip for brides too, is that if they're using like Instagram to look for a DJ or photographer,
right,
that they don't want to be just searching photographer. Which I think a lot of people would do, because they're just, or wedding photographer maybe, but because they're just probably thinking more along the lines of like Pinterest, of creating a vision, but
ideas,
right. But this is actually a platform where you can find photographers in your market.
Exactly. And how sad would it be if you were getting married and you were planning this wedding and you saw this really good photographer you wanted, or this really good DJ, and you reached out to them and they were like, yeah, I can do it, but I'm going to charge you $1,000 for travel fees because I'm in Vegas and I have to fly my stuff to your house.
Right.
Like, there's certain things like that you don't necessarily want to tag that broad of a hashtag, because then nobody's going to find it. I mean, you want to target the Raleigh brides because they're going to be like, Raleigh bride, 2021 bride. You can even get creative with it.
Yeah.
That's what I do. And I try to think outside the box. That's what we were talking about not too long ago, is that you just have to stay creative and on top of it. That's the main thing.
Are you seeing more on Facebook or on Instagram as your way to get with brides?
Instagram for sure.
Yeah.
So here's the key to the two social media platforms. You ready? This is the magic trick. And some people know this, some people don't. So Instagram, you're reaching your millennials and your brides. Okay. Facebook, you're reaching their parents.
Yep.
So basically, if a bride says, Mom, I really need money for a deposit because I really want to book this company. I researched it. I looked at all their stories, their posts. But the mom's like, I don't know anything about this. I don't even have an Instagram. They're going to say, well, look them up on Facebook. And then now, if you create that same content that's branded from your Instagram to your Facebook, so everything matches, now the mom is seeing every single thing that the girl just saw.
Are you ever reaching out to brides in those groups that are on Facebook, though? Because I see that all the time. Yeah,
and actually that's another thing about how, I'm not just trying to sell my business. I'm also here to help people as well, because I love this industry and that's what I like to do. So I'll give advice, even if it has nothing to do with DJ or photo booth. If I see, hey, I'm only looking for a hair and makeup person, I'm only looking I'll just tag my friends and say, these are the people that I worked with. They're really good. Check out their work. Here's their Facebook page.
Right.
And a lot of times that's like super helpful, because they'll look me up on my profile and see like, this guy is a business owner in the wedding industry. He didn't try to sell me his company, but he was trying to be helpful. So people appreciate that.
Yeah, because I think it shows that, again, you're not selling to them, and they'll trust you a little bit more as a person, because it's like, oh, you were willing to take the time, even if it only took you a minute to tag the people, but still it's time out of your day that's not promoting your business. So
exactly,
it does that.
And I'm glad that you said that, because one of the key components of brand marketing is building that trust. That's a big thing. You have to have a trusted brand.
Yeah.
That's a big thing of like branding your logo on everything you post so people know it's you.
Yeah.
You can't just steal a picture of people dancing and say, I make people dance on the dance floor. Like you have to, did you do that? Is that from a wedding you did? Like, is your logo there? Is your website there? Can they reach you on your blog and read all the information about you? Like, there's so many different things to marketing. And I really feel like people can really step their game up, especially in North Carolina, because there are other places they're killing the game with social media. Like, I just can't believe it. It's like a whole website right there on your phone on social media. You don't even have to go to their website because everything's right there.
Yeah, you already know like exactly what you're getting into with them.
Exactly. Yeah, it's basically the quick website. It's already right there. Everything's loaded, and it just goes from one thing to another right there in front of you.
That is really nice, and I definitely agree. I think that I don't know if everybody just realizes the potential that they can put out, and having that authentic content behind it is so important.
Right.
I mean, everything I tell my team all the time, like, I want you guys to be going on live. Like, I want people to be put, like, we just did a photo shoot, and instead of having models model the dresses, because we were trying to plug some of the local dress shops, my team did it because I want people to recognize them, because I want people to trust us. Like,
it's the face of your business.
Exactly. Like, I don't want people to think of us like we're this faceless corporation, because we're not.
Exactly.
And I think showing that, and like showing you actually DJing, or like, you know, pictures from events that you've done, does so much more than just taking somebody else's picture.
Exactly. And that's basically what I do to get people to know me. Every email that gets sent to any bride, any quote that comes in, anything like that, is all going through me first. Before they talk to anybody else that works for me, I'm talking to everybody.
Yeah.
So they have my information, they know who I am, they can research me if they want to. Everything is right there. All the links to all my companies, everything I do.
Yeah. That's awesome though, because then it's easy too. I mean, I definitely think that couples want, I mean, I say this all the time. I'm like, they need to be more proactive on the consumer side, doing their research, doing homework on this event that they're planning, because it is a big monetary investment for them.
It really is.
So to not do research on the people that they're hiring is kind of shame on them. I think people with the internet and with social media and just being more comfortable with that are better consumers, because we are used to looking up reviews and looking at pictures, and I can look at somebody's page and know in 30 seconds if they bought their followers or not, you know? I think people can see through that kind of stuff too, which is good.
And that's another thing. I mean, you don't want to buy followers. No. It's better to have 1,000 followers than 10,000 fake followers that are never going to do anything to you. And every time you go on there to work and check something, you're going to see all of their fake posts popping up all over the place. Like, you don't want it. You just want to have a clean slate to work with and see your bride's posts and your vendor friends' posts, and you want to be able to see everything easily. Like, there's so much clutter on the internet with that stuff, and that's going back to like the whole marketing. Take what you do on Instagram, post it on Facebook, and then also use your Google page. A lot of people don't know that Google business page works wonders, and if you want to get boosted in rankings and people to find you, that's like number one. That's key. You have to be blog posting and researching and just submitting everything to Google. Yeah, and the blog posting is huge. It's something I'm personally doing a lot more research on because I just don't like writing. So luckily I have some people that are more enthusiastic about the task than I am, but it is really important because it does boost your SEO, and it does, you know, you can tag it in the back and make sure that, I mean, that's what we want to do, is make sure that, you know, we can write about you, we can tag you, and then it just elevates your business. But I don't think a lot of people think about that, because when you're starting off, you automatically think Instagram and Facebook, which is great, but there's so much more than just that. Exactly. Yeah. We even, we started a TikTok account. We haven't really got into it too much, but we're going to start when weddings pick back up and everybody's with no mask and having fun. We're going to post funny dancing videos on TikTok. Like, that's just going to be part of the business, because that's what's popular. Yeah. You have to keep up with the trends, you know, just like Snapchat. At first, we were messing around with that, posting up funny, stupid, goofy things we were doing in the office with each other. Like, you know, shooting Nerf guns at each other or whatever it may be, you know? I mean, it's just, you have to keep up with times and follow trends and reach the potential customers. You know that all of the millennial brides either have Instagram, Snapchat, or TikTok. Mm-hmm. So if you're not on any of those, you're missing out on all of those younger brides that are there. So
I know, and TikTok. I just don't get it. I mean,
I don't really either.
And I have a hard time, because I agree, like if we could have a Bride Genie TikTok account, which I think I made one, but like there's nothing on it.
Right.
I just can't figure out what I would put on there.
I think it'd be more beneficial for the show, for the podcast. I think it would probably help you more to do it for the podcast.
Right.
Yeah.
Because to your point, like you can actually post people dancing, which is a huge thing on TikTok. Like you could probably even get, there's like certain TikTok songs, right? Mm-hmm. I think.
Yeah. That's how people are like blowing up and getting a lot of money and becoming big. Yeah.
Like I feel like artists are specifically thinking like, will this go viral on TikTok? Because if so, then I'll do this song. And then if not, then they're not doing it. But you could play one of those songs and then get the people doing the TikTok dance and then film them and then repost that. And now it's an event that you're at.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just,
all right, now you think of one for me. How do I do this?
I mean, it makes sense. Like you have so many guests. You guys can do something so fun.
Yeah.
Like pop champagne bottles and stuff like that.
Yeah,
like there's super cool little fun, quick things that you can do that, people are going to be like, well, that looks so fun. It's so sparkly and shiny and there's lights everywhere. And they always look like, their makeup and hair are perfect. Like I want to see what this is all about. Like,
yeah.
There's a ton of ways to reach people.
All right, we'll have to talk through that one because that sounds like a lot of good ideas and I'm just not thinking through it because I'm just like, oh, I don't get it.
Exactly.
But that's like the grouchy old man way of thinking.
Yeah.
Not that I'm a grouchy old man, but
I am helping a lot of people like kind of on the low with their businesses just because they are friends of mine and I know that they're good, but I also know that they can be better.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying like I'm perfect in that my business is like, oh, you should follow everything I'm doing, but it took a lot of trial and error to get where I'm at and figure this stuff out and research. We've studied tons of marketing campaigns and different blog posts and YouTube videos, and we learned part of the right way how to do it.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of the time what happens to business owners is they're so close to their own business that they get stuck.
Right.
And they can't really think outside the box anymore because like you're working day and night on the same thing and you're like, you've got this task and you're working towards task A and then you have B, C, and D down the line.
Yep.
So then when you have a fresh perspective of like, hey, did you ever think of doing it this way? And they're like, oh God, no, like how did I miss that?
Right.
And I think that's awesome that you're helping people that way.
Yeah. And I think it's really helpful. And I always tell brides, and I think I've mentioned this to you before, is that if a bride calls me and she said, well, what makes you different? What sets you apart? I'm not going to give her a whole blabbing sales pitch. I'm going to let my style, my videos, my pictures, and basically everything that I've done and all my brides, I'm going to let them do the talking because that's the best way to show you what I do.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit here and try to explain it because anybody can do that. Go to the social media, go to the website, and really like as a bride, you need to be digging deep and researching the vendors that you're going to be working with because I don't care if they cost you $400 and you're so super excited. They might be, I call them bedroom DJs. Like they might do it for fun as a hobby after they worked at a pest control company all day and they don't do weddings all the time. Where like, not trying to plug my company, but CWDJ we're very professional. We work with your timeline. We work with your vendors. We're kind of like that second wedding coordinator, on your wedding day, because if that wedding planner's off doing something else, we're running the show.
Oh, yeah.
And you have to have mic control. You have to know what to say at the right time and the right things to say. So,
and the two great points. I mean, I think my most overused example when I'm explaining Bride Genie is a kid with a laptop who says he's a DJ, because anybody can pull up Spotify and just go through a song list, but that's not a true professional DJ.
Yeah, exactly. There's also free DJ programs that you can get, and now all of a sudden for Christmas you became a DJ.
Right.
And
it's like, but you're not actually a DJ.
Right.
And really, I think the wedding planner, they are obviously with you throughout the whole planning process.
Yeah.
And they're there the day of to coordinate things like, does everybody have their place settings and their forks and knives and, making sure the food's coming out on time, but they're not running the show.
Right.
Like that's all you.
Exactly. You're going to have to make that call if they're nowhere to be found.
Right.
If they're off, getting your cake boxed up
Right.
Who's going to say like, okay, it's time to open the dance floor? I am. I am going to figure out and read that crowd when that's the time to do that.
Right.
There's just certain things like that. And that's also overlooked a lot. And it's photographers too. Like, I feel bad. Everybody gets a camera and all of a sudden they're a photographer. They're taking family portraits, and then all of a sudden now they're a wedding photographer. And everybody does start somewhere. I started helping people lift heavy stuff for block parties in New York. And then I did teen nights. Right. And then I did birthday parties and sweet 16s and all that stuff. But you have to start somewhere.
Right.
But you have to also know what you're good at and be able to promote that and why you're good at that. Reviews speak for themselves.
Definitely.
Reviews are very important, and I think every bride should not only look at the social media and the branding and all the work that goes in behind the scenes, but also those reviews.
Yeah, because it does, it is written by real brides, and in my opinion, if you are good enough that after the event's over, I'm going to go back and review you, like, clearly you did a great job, because most people only write reviews when there's something negative to say. At least like if there, you think Yelp is like, I think it's like the worst place to go for any information, but it is a lot easier to get negative reviews than positive ones. So if you're looking at your wedding professionals and they have these great reviews, clearly they're doing something very right, which is good. It's like assurance that I'm spending this money and it's worth it. It's not going to be a kid with a laptop who says he's a DJ.
Exactly, right. And that's kind of what we were talking about, as things were starting off, is that I even have brides giving me video messages sent to my phone with them and their fiance or now husband, and they're like, hey, CW DJ was so great. This is what we loved about them. You need to hire them because of this. The photo booths were amazing. All the pictures were super high quality. Yeah. And for a new bride that's engaged, that is about to be married, that is super big and super important for them to be like, that girl is a real bride. She was just like me a few months ago. I need to check this company out because they loved it.
And that's such a better way to do it, because I think we talked about this. I don't really trust many written reviews because
you can't.
You could have written them.
Right.
Exactly. I know you don't, but anybody can write them.
Right.
So I think having an actual video testimonial of a bride who used your services, was happy, and then sent that video. That's huge.
Yeah. And also when we're posting pictures up, on all of our social media, we try to tag the brides too.
Oh, cool.
Like if we're doing a story and we post up a story and the bride is in that picture, we're going to tag her, so then she reshares it too. It's all part of marketing.
Right.
Now you're reaching more people, not just the people on your social media, but theirs, because they were super happy that now they're in your picture.
Right.
And you're, bragging how great their wedding was. So there's so much to it. I feel like marketing has so many different aspects, and branding has so many different aspects to it, that you could literally go through everything, even the review thing, and go through it and talk all day.
Oh, I'm sure. We could have like a 4-hour podcast. Scott, I won't do that to you, but you could go down that many rabbit holes with marketing. It's so important to your business. I think, I've actually taken on more of a CMO role for Bride. Wow,
tongue twister letters right there.
It really wasn't that difficult either. But it's true. It's like once you get the foundation laid, like you have to focus all on marketing at that point. So it's crazy. And the photo booth thing, I think, is really cool. We are actually working on building that out as its own category, because it's become so huge. I know a lot of mostly DJs offer it. I know some photographers will also do the photo booths too, but then there's also standalone, just photo booths.
And here's the thing, photo booths, if it's an added value thing, that's great for the business. On the business side, we're talking about, from the business side and from the bride side, that's great. But on the bride side, if a company is only adding that as an add-on or an upsell, how dedicated and how familiar and how professional are they actually, and educated with that specific add-on that they're selling? Like we have a whole crew and a whole team that specifically just does the photo booth.
Oh, really?
I'm not the DJ and I'm going to set up your photo booth and let it run on its own. We have staff that's fully trained. They have photography experience. It's high quality cameras, similar to the cameras we're using in here. Oh, nice. It's just like it's high quality, and that's why we're branding it separate. Yes, CW DJ offers photo booth, But Spark Photo Booth is the photo booth company that you're getting.
Gotcha.
Because that is specifically going to be for you that day, photo booth only. Mm-hmm. Don't worry about the DJ stuff. I'm not going to ask you to fill out your favorite songs and then tell me what kind of backdrop you want.
Right.
That's going to be something totally separate. Mm-hmm. So that's another important thing.
That is important. And I don't think that a lot of people realize that. And that's, I mean, I certainly didn't. Because I've seen two different types. One where they're more like you need a person operating it. And then I've also seen those ones where it's literally kind of like, it's not as old school as like if you were in an arcade and you go in a thing and there's a curtain.
It's like
and
an
then
enclosed booth.
Yeah. But even now they'll have those machines that are like, they just sit in front of you and then it just takes the pictures and then you walk out of it. So there's completely automated, but that seems like, to your point, more of the like add-on than like, hey, you want a real photo booth operated by like
it's
real
also
people.
Because like if you're doing an add-on, chances are any company that's doing that to add-on, they're gonna find the best deal they can to add on that service so they can offer it to you at a low price and still make a fair profit off of it.
Right.
Whereas a photo booth company or a regular, any other kind of company, they're going to put their time and money into something that is really good and something that's really high tech and professional. Whereas those booths you were talking about, they use a webcam or a tablet camera and then you have grainy, blurry pictures and then it's not good, and you blow it up for a canvas in your house with all your friends to put in your girl's room or whatever.
Right.
And it's like, why? Who is in that picture? I can't even see it.
Right.
You have to have high quality stuff.
Yeah, that's a good point because they don't come out very nice. I mean, they look okay, and I guess it kind of depends on your priorities, right? Yeah. Like if you balled out on a wedding photographer, you might not care if those pictures aren't great, but I would still think if you're going to invest the money into having it, you would want a good quality photo.
My thing is this. I always tell brides this because I don't try to upsell anything too much. I am the type of business owner where I'm going to mold a package that best fits you. And I've told you this before, and I'm not going to give you something you don't need or you don't want.
Right.
Okay. If you are really serious and obsessed with having that photo booth, you did it at your friend's wedding, you had so much fun, you want your grandparents to get in there and have fun and all that, then I would specifically put a small budget aside for your high quality photo booth. If you don't really care and a DJ's like, well, we can give it to you for this price if you book with us. If you don't really care too much about the photo booth, then do it.
Right.
That's up to you. It's the same thing with, I don't want to plug any car names, but it's the same thing as going to a car lot that's on the side of the road or going to a big corporate car lot that is brand new cars and only sells those specific cars, that knows everything about those cars.
Right, like a specialized dealership.
Exactly.
Yeah. Exactly.
And it's the same thing with, do you want McDonald's or do you want Ruth's Chris?
Yeah.
You have to look at it like that too. It goes back to all of that. It's how much money do you want to invest in your entertainment, and that's a big part of your night.
Yep.
A lot of people don't realize that.
Well, and I think that's such a valid point. Like everything, how the wedding looks and feels is obviously important,
right?
Because it's going to be in the photos and things. But really, it's like, how are you remembering it?
Yeah.
Or if you're like me, not remembering it.
Right.
It all depends on how much you drink. But
yeah. Well, the last wedding you went to, what color were the tablecloths?
White.
Exactly. You don't remember, right? Idea. What was the flavor of the cake?
I don't even remember eating the cake.
Right. What was the side item that was plated on the food?
No idea. I think I had steak though.
Exactly. But they'll remember how much fun that they had or how much fun they didn't have.
I had a lot of fun.
Exactly.
The open bar top shelf liquor was nice.
Oh yeah.
That was good.
Great.
Yeah. But you're right. I mean, that's a really good point. I don't remember any of those things.
You won't.
I just remember having a really good time.
Yeah. And it's super important. You want it to look pretty. You want it to be nice. You want your family to say how great it was.
Yeah.
And that's, we've also talked about that before, is a lot of this is done for families. Do what you want and do what makes you happy and have the wedding that you want to have.
Yeah.
I always stress that.
I think that gets lost. Actually, we talked about that. So Scott's sister came on. She's a therapist, and she specializes in premarital counseling.
Nice.
And she was talking about how couples, they get lost kind of in planning the event for mom and dad or whoever's paying for it. But really that's not who the event's for. Right. It's like, this is about you guys being in love and wanting to take that next step and have a family. Like, that's what the celebration is for.
Exactly.
But I get, like, if somebody's writing a check, you want to be respectful and include them.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's like, this is your wedding.
Right.
So
it has to be worth it.
Yeah.
I always tell people, look at your entertainment as an investment.
Yeah.
Invest in what you want that's most important for your wedding. If somebody writes you a check, great. That's awesome. I didn't have that, but if you have that, that's awesome. You know, but put it towards the stuff that you really want to put it towards.
Yeah.
You know, somehow mold that budget into getting everything that you really want that day.
That's what I'm trying to, like, get brides more in the mindset of thinking. It's like, it's okay to have an overall budget number, but to, instead of being so focused on what that number is, think about what percentage you want going where, and like, what is the most important to you. If you're all about your dress, your hair and makeup, and it's all about you, then that's great, but like, that's where your money is going to go. But if you care more about the entertainment, or if you're a big foodie and you're all about the food and what's served, like, think about what your priorities are, and then start thinking about, okay, well, what makes sense for the budget, instead of just saying, okay, $3,000 sounds okay for a photographer. Like, I don't know, like, that's not the way to go about it.
Well, and then what ends up happening is that by the time they book their venue and their food, they come to us other vendors and they're like, oh, we don't have any more budget left.
Right.
Why did you spend so much on your first things when you have 12 other things that you have to include in the budget? Exactly.
And that's a conversation that I think what happens to a lot of brides, I'm speculating, complete speculation here. Have not been a bride, but I think what happens is they get very excited about being engaged, which obviously, and then they start thinking, okay, when are we going to do it? And they think of a season, and then they think of where they're going to have it. Yeah. And they're, still in the honeymoon phase of the wedding planning process.
Yes.
So they go all in, and budget's a hard conversation to have. Nobody wants to talk about money. Like, of course. We just want all the money. We don't want to have to, like, think about it.
We want a nice wedding and a nice honeymoon.
Right. And a great ring and everything else, all these things. We want all the things. But I would even say, before you even start looking at when are we going to have this and where are we going to have this, think about how much money do we want to go all in, add $10,000 to that, and then allocate it. Say what's top priorities and put percentages together, and then start talking to your vendors.
Exactly. Especially if you're doing like a DIY type of wedding where you don't have a planner, which I highly am against.
Oh yeah, same.
Because that just makes more work on your other vendors that are there, because there's nobody helping with that portion. So now we all have to delegate certain spots and certain time in our profession to try to also be your wedding coordinator that night. And it's hard because we have another job to do, and that's what we came to do. Right.
Well, and a lot of people won't work with a bride if they don't have a wedding planner, because they know that. They know, I'm going to be your wedding planner, and I'm not signing up for that, which I know kind of sounds harsh, but it's not. And it's a lot of, I think a lot of brides, if they get a wedding planner earlier on in the stage, they would actually save more money.
Well, yeah, a lot of them have tools to say, like, what's your overall budget? And it breaks it down for you.
Yeah.
And they'll tell you, like, yeah, this is how much you have. So you're like, oh, okay, perfect. Now I know.
Right.
And you don't have to do any thinking about it.
Yeah.
You just tell them what your budget is. And it's hard because some people don't know their budget. They're waiting on parents to say how much they're going to give them, or, they're waiting on this new job because they just graduated college and they were going to use their sign-on bonus to, like, buy a certain thing for the wedding. So there's a lot of different elements that also goes into that.
That's blowing my mind. I just think of, like, little Court out of college, so not even close to a wedding. So, like, kudos to all the people out there mature enough to get married at that age, because that was not me.
It's crazy. We've seen brides, like, they'll literally finish college, have their wedding, and they're closing on their house in the same week, and then their significant other is, like, starting a brand new job. I'm like, how are you doing that? That's insane.
I think that trying to think of how old I was at that point. So at that point, I was in the process of launching one of my first businesses and could barely pay rent. I had another side business, and then I was also having to donate plasma to pay rent. So It was a rough time for me.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
But, like, entrepreneurship at its finest. Like, you struggle in the beginning pretty hard. You're living like teacher salary. It's like a billionaire at that point.
Right.
So,
exactly.
I mean, again, I wish I had my life together where I could have bought a house and gotten married and done, well, I don't even know. I feel like I liked what I did better, but that blows my mind.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother rabbit hole. I can't even like conceptualize that right now.
It's scary. I mean, if you think about how much goes into that, just like having a test alone, like preparing for that and hoping that you pass your test in college, and then all of a sudden now you're planning a wedding and all that other stuff. I can't do it. I couldn't do it.
Again, I'm somebody who's never really planned it in my head, so I luckily I'm now in this industry, so I think it should be a really like fairly easy process. I already know all the people that like I can just hit up and be like, hey, it's gonna be like maybe 20 people.
yeah, exactly.
Like, can you just come and do this? And I'm like, I'll pay you. And then that'll be it, which is like most ideal. But I mean, one of my best friends from college who's engaged, her whole life is just planning things. Like, she's not a wedding planner.
That's awesome though.
She's in real estate, but she loves organization and planning, and she has this like dope planner that's like gives me anxiety looking at it. And so I know some people, they just genuinely enjoy that.
Yeah. And that's another big thing that you bring up. Organization is key, not only for the bride aspect, keeping all your vendors organized and all your budget stuff, but vendors, that is like key right now, especially with COVID, all this stuff happening. Like, man, I couldn't imagine doing this and rescheduling all these weddings and having the cancellations and people not picking dates yet, but they want to next year. They just don't know yet. Not being organized, that would kill a business. Yeah. Like, you have to be super organized.
Yeah. That's such a great point. I mean, we literally just like reorged our whole structure because we just needed something a little bit more focused than what we had, which has been great. And I think a lot of people, now is the time to do it. Like, like now is the time to look at what you're doing internally and say, okay, I can't do this external things that I normally would do. So how can I improve the marketing? How can I change the website? How do I, realign my teams that everybody's doing something, a little more granular than everything. So
even if it's a simple thing like clearing off your laptop, get rid of old stuff, make your laptop run better. Like, there's so many things you can do. Take a look at your website, proofread it. Our website was up for 5 years, I think, before someone was like, hey man, there was something that the letters were switched up. And I was like, oh really? Thanks for telling me 5 years later.
Right.
So, just take a look at all that stuff. It's super important. It really is.
It definitely is.
But yeah, like our Instagram pages, every time we're at an event, it's in the contract too. Like, that's another thing. If you're like, oh, how am I going to post stuff at people's weddings? Put it in your contract that when they sign it, they're agreeing to give you permission to use that stuff for marketing and social media. Oh yeah. Because it's a big thing. People might try to sue you because you didn't get their permission, but then you can be like, well, you told me that I was able to use that. Yeah.
So. Well, Frankie, you might be out of the running for my wedding DJ then. I don't even have a boyfriend, so we're jumping the gun on this, but I'm somebody who even at my last corporate job, I've just been I feel like I could have my own reality show with the weird situations that I've had to get in.
It sounds like it.
But I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. But we had to do this like about me slides. And then we had to put like pictures and like everybody's got their cute friends and family. Oh, can you see my Instagram, Scott? Are you able to look at that? Are you on yours? Just to show you, like, so everybody's got these, like, they make this collage of photos and it's like really cute pictures. They've got their kids and their wives or their husband and like all this cute stuff. And I'm just like, what am I gonna put? Wait, scroll down. Let's keep going. Scroll. Keep going. Scroll. There, on the left. Down. One more. That one.
That's awesome.
So I made this collage. Can you click it? No, the one on the left. Yeah. So instead of putting, because like, what am I going to put, me and my cat? Then I look like an even bigger weirdo. So I made this collage and that was my picture for my ID. Because I was like, I really don't want to do this. Yeah. And then I just made Sean Payton, Joe Rogan, Elon Musk, and Neil deGrasse Tyson.
That's hilarious.
As my...
That's your life story right there.
It pretty much is me in a nutshell. But then they were then we found out that they were gonna like post this on every screen.
Oh my gosh!
I think there was like 20 buildings on the campus.
What?
Like when we went to the sales kickoff, there's 30,000 people there. So I was like, yo. You can't post mine.
No, please leave that off.
Like, I'm not signing the thing that says that you can use my pictures. Yeah. Like, no. Yeah. I was like, I don't want anyone to see my name or know who I am.
It's funny how you posted it anyway, though.
Well, yeah.
Personally.
My thing is so private, though. Like, I have, like, no followers, and, you know, it doesn't matter. But, yeah, that's, like, my little work of art.
Well, there you go.
It's me in a nutshell. Yeah. I don't know what that says about me.
But even that, I mean, like, people now more than ever is time to get creative and just do fun things like that and see if something sticks. Like, you can make a bunch of stuff one day and throw it all, you know, in the trash can on your phone.
Right.
But one thing you might be like, I could use this. Right. This is going to be great. You know, like I did a contest on Spark Photo Booths page the other day, and I had like marketing professionals inboxing me like, you need to do more stuff like this.
Oh, cool.
Because this was awesome. It was like, I basically just posted these holographic stickers and I said, hey, if you want one of these, I'll mail it to you. All you have to do is tag a bride that's getting married.
Oh, cool. Is it still up?
Yeah, it's up on the Spark Photo Booth page. And I mean, we were getting good response and we mailed a whole bunch of them out. And it's just a fun way for people to interact. And people like stuff like that.
Well, I think that, but like, even though that's a really stupid picture, I feel like people overthink about like what they're posting, and people will just want something, to your point, that's relatable and that they like sometimes you don't even know why you like it. You're just like, oh, like that like looks really cool, and like I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the hologram part of it, or maybe that it's all matching, but it just looks nice.
Yeah, and it's part of the branding, and that's you know, going back to that, it's all important. If you hand some, that's it right there.
Oh, so, that's cool. Yeah, I like it. It looks amazing. I mean, the way that
so I put a little video and I was just like, if you want one of these new and limited edition, then just tag your bride that's getting married, anybody that you know. And I mean, people were tagging people. I was getting messages. And so we just mailed out a whole bunch of holographic stickers. It was fun. I love it. Yeah, I was bored and I was like, what can I do to kind of get some free advertising?
Oh, we're gonna have to get some like bride holographic stickers then, because I like the rainbow. I think that's what I like about it, is that it's having the rainbow go over it.
It's the holographic look.
Oh, I love that.
And like I said, our business cards match that, and then on the back of our photo booths you could see a big sticker like that on the back of all the photo booths. So like when you're looking at all different angles, it's doing that from far away, waiting in line for the photo booth. So
smart. Oh, I love that.
You just got to be flashy and attract attention.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many sales we've closed just from the business cards.
Really?
As soon as I show it, the bride's like, this is the coolest business card I've ever seen. So when can we sign the contract?
Yeah, they are really cool. So, I don't know if they'll be able to see this.
Well, it's different. You have to stand out. Paper cards, they're going to go with all the other paper cards. They're going to possibly get washed or wet. And then they're going to fade and you're not going to be able to read them. That's plastic and it's holographic. And if you licked it and stuck it to your forehead, it would stay there. Don't try it.
I feel like
you're on camera.
Thank you for the reminder.
Try it.
See, I'm the gullible enough person to actually do it too. So I'm gonna slide that away from me. So
the stickers work well too if you stick them to your forehead.
Oh yeah, the stickers stick to your forehead. That's funny. Is that what they look like, the photo booths?
Yeah, they're modern, sleek photo booths. So they're all open air. People love it. And if you're that type of person that wants the privacy, we do offer enclosed canopies, which is really fun too. It's kind of more of a private feel. Yeah.
That's really cool though. I like that. I mean, it is. I kind of like the open air ones because I think it'd be fun to watch the people in front of you go and stuff like that.
It's super popular, especially when you get grandparents in there and they have like all these big shades on and all these boas around their neck and a big hat.
So cute though.
Yeah, and your grandparents are just having super fun and it's a lot of fun. I love it.
That is cool. I think that's such it correlates with DJing so nicely because it's entertainment.
Exactly.
Like, it's another thing to do at your wedding.
Exactly. And that's kind of why we have CWDJ Entertainment, because we don't just do DJing, but we also specialize in other kinds of entertainment. You know, we don't just offer it. We specialize in it. We have 2 separate social medias, 2 separate businesses, 2 separate contracts, things like that. So, and the cool thing about the photo booths is they can fit in anywhere when you do a modern sleek. So no matter what kind of venue, small, big, anywhere, we can fit it. We can make it work.
You could literally fit it at the end of this table.
Oh, I can put it right next to me and take pictures of you while you're doing this. Like, it's literally can fit anywhere.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But that is nice because sometimes, especially I feel like if you were downtown in a venue, you might be kind of low on space.
Oh, always. Yeah.
So having that small area, and then you're just really working with the backdrop and how much that can cover.
Exactly. And that's another good point too. You know, we offer different size backdrops too to fit a specific place that we're going to be in. You know, if you're like calling me saying, I really want a photo booth, but I don't think the space is going to be good enough for it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it will be, because we can make it work. We require either an 8x8 or 10x10.
Okay.
But I can fit it in a 5x5.
Right.
I'll just bring my 5x5 backdrop.
Gotcha.
And now we're going to be in that 5x5 corner at the venue.
How does a 5x5 work though?
It's basically a more intimate setting. So instead of doing big group shots with 20 people, it's like 2 or 3 people can fit in the booth.
And they're sitting, I would imagine.
No, they'd stand up still. It's just instead of having a really big, wide open, backdrop, it's just a little shorter. So it's still,
You said 5x5?
Yeah.
I mean, wouldn't my head be over the...
We can make it higher because you're not going to see your feet.
Oh,
yeah, there's a lot of creative things that you can do.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we even have like boxwood. The boxwood backdrop is super cool and it's getting really popular. Basically, brides can take their flowers from their centerpieces all around the room and they can stick them in the boxwood backdrop. So now the backdrop, it ties in with the whole wedding because it looks like the centerpiece.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, right there.
That's so cool.
Yep.
Interesting. I didn't even know what that was when you were saying it, honestly. I was like, boxwood.
Yeah, so it's basically just a greenery boxwood backdrop, but it's not printed. It's like a real shrub.
Oh, and I've seen people too, and what they'll do is they'll have maybe the last name made in their font of whatever choice they did.
Exactly.
And then I think they're just
hang it with fishing line.
Sticking. Oh, so they're hanging that from the ceiling.
Yeah, or you can squeeze it through the other side and mount it that way. But yeah, I mean, there's so many different things you can do.
That's cool.
I've seen a lot of people wanting to do now like glow things, like glow sticks and stuff in the photo booth. But once that flash happens to get that good picture, it's not going to be glowing anymore. It's going to look like you're holding plastic sticks up. Yeah. So it's really hard to do that.
Yeah, I can see that for sure. But I think it is cool. And it's like something fun to do. And you're right. They have like all the silly little props. And we even, I feel like I talk shit on our booth at the wedding show all the time because it was so bad. Like, it was so bad. But
it's like that though.
But that's what we did. We just, because we're an app. Like, I can't really show you anything cool in a booth. But we did make a backdrop with the logo, and then we had people with those props and like a big blow up ring and stuff like that.
Yep.
And people loved it because it's just like the fun of like, oh, we're here and we're gonna hold this big inflatable ring and like have fun. And I remember one kid was like hula hooping with it, and like it was just like silly stuff to do. Yeah. So. And
that's another thing, going back to that is like that's part of marketing.
Yeah.
Like, you're not always going to have the best idea right away.
Right.
It takes time to figure it out. Like your first booth, it might not have been great, but by the time you do 3 or 4 more shows and people start to get to know you, you're going to have a sick booth. People are going to be like, what is that booth over there?
Yeah.
So it's all marketing, everything,
Yeah. I had to call my partners. I was like, guys, this looks awful. We have the worst booth here.
Yeah, please send help.
I'm going to Target, I guess.
That's so funny.
Yeah, it was rough, but we got through it. I mean, it was a great experience. But you're right. I think just like with business, like you're gonna learn as you go through it.
Yeah, exactly. It's trial and error. Everything is.
Right. Well, and I even think like if I had known some of the vendors that I know now before that, I could have talked to them like, hey, so what are you guys doing in here? And that I'm sure would have helped because I was right by Chandelier and they had chandeliers.
Yeah, their booth was pretty nice. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I was like Laura and Dom put us next to the nicest looking booths, and I was just like, nice. I was like, I have a tablecloth.
They were like, maybe people will pass by because these booths look good.
Well, I think that's the thought process. No, like seriously, we were just like, put us near like high volume areas, and we'll and poor Erica, it was her first day. Day. I gave her a 3-minute pitch on Bride Genie and crushed it. She would go and she'd like pull brides into our booth and like awesome. Pitch them on the app, and then she'd get them to take their photos and stuff.
Right.
But certainly a learning experience.
It is, yeah. And it's all trial and error, like I said. I mean, you can't run a business without trying stuff and failing. Mm-hmm. Literally, I didn't do this full time my whole life. It took me a long time to be able to entertain for events and weddings full time.
Yeah.
It's not something that just happened instantly. I didn't have anything handed to me. I had to work for that and try different things that worked and didn't work in order to get where I'm at now. So,
and I think you made a really good point. Like, it is a lot of trial and error. And I think what happens to a lot of people is they don't try to learn from the experience. They just like go through it and they beat themselves up over it. But just having that kind of positive outlook on, hey, okay, this happened. It didn't work. Right. This is why it didn't work. And what do we do to change it, to either make sure it doesn't happen again, or is there something that we can still salvage from whatever's going on and turn it around or turn it into something somewhat positive? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I see that all the time, just even in entrepreneurship in general. It's just like...
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with that. And, you know, you just have to go with it and do what is best in the moment. And if it's wrong, it's wrong. Yeah. But if it's right, then you might be onto something. Yeah. I mean, who knows? It could be ending up making you the best version of you that you ever were, and you didn't even know it was going to happen. So, wow, Siri's talking to me and listening to my conversation while we're filming this. That's kind of creepy.
Right? I know.
I feel like I'm on Impractical Jokers or something.
Yeah, it's one of those like shows where they're going to like pop out behind these curtains.
Like, there's the camera there, and there's one there.
Punked Ashton Kutcher. Is that your phone? Oh, I thought that was Scott.
Nobody even knows what phone it's coming from. What's going on in here?
I was going to say, so this may be the first time we have to have a guest put money in the oh no jar. We have this jar here that Scott and I have to feed cash into when we mess up on the podcast to like make ourselves better.
I got $2 in the car.
Yeah, well, there you go. I don't know if that's your fault.
I'm going to have to send a bill to Siri though.
Yeah, there you go.
Apple owes me $2.
I already have Siri turned off. I don't trust anything. I don't trust nothing.
They're listening. They're listening to the podcast, though, at least.
Well, now she's going to like steal all of our marketing ideas. She heard, I didn't, I might even go down that rabbit hole because that's an no topic for me. But there's certain things I can't even talk about because I rant on them too much.
Oh, yeah.
It happens.
Yep. Being on radio, I had to watch what I said because it was live. So
you were on radio?
6 years.
Really?
Yeah, I had a morning show on Pulse FM.
No way.
Yeah, 2 stations.
How'd you get into that?
Honestly, by luck.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I faked my demo tape, and I was working at Time Warner Cable.
Are you serious?
And I hated that job.
Yeah.
And I was like, all the hits on Pulse FM, and I was like putting my voice over new hot top 40 songs that were out. And I like put this whole demo reel together, and I got a call from the program director, and they were like, we loved your demo. We want you to come in for an interview and stuff. And they were like, but the only thing is it's not going to be full time. And I was like, I don't care. I'll be there tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I literally quit Time Warner on the spot. Never went back. Started working overnights for the radio station and like really learning it and listening to other people who were big doing it. And then I just ended up like moving up. And then, you know, I had the morning show for a while. And then I just ended up giving it up because the business stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and with radio, if you're not selling ads, you know, there's not always enough money, same with podcasts, to keep certain things going. So it was just a mutual decision that it was time for me to slide and do my own thing. So
is that how you got into DJing, is through the radio gig?
No, I almost feel like I got into the radio gig from doing DJing.
Really?
Yeah, okay. Which is kind of backwards, but they knew I had experience.
Right.
And they knew I knew how to talk on the microphone and stuff. And honestly, being on the radio, that like increased everything I was able to do.
Yeah,
it completely helped. Yeah. It completely helped. I was reaching more people. People knew who I was. I was becoming my own brand.
Yeah.
But then also I was learning more how to speak on the mic and more how to stay on time and more spur of the moment. Like, oh my God, what am I going to do? All these people are watching me. But now I'm like, all right, cool.
Right.
I used to be super embarrassed and nervous to say anything in front of anybody. Like I would literally sweat and like have to clear my throat a million times and hate it. I got stomach aches.
Really?
And you have to face your fears. That's what everybody says. Like I couldn't do it for a long time.
Good for you,
and
though.
Then all of a sudden I was like, there we go.
Yeah.
You know, the first word I say on the microphone, then I'm good. I might get a little bit nervous before an event like everybody, but as soon as I say that first thing, I'm good.
You're like in the zone. You're like, oh yeah, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah. You got to have that confidence. And that's the key to what this industry is too.
Yeah.
You know, just like a bride, you have to feel confident in the dress that you pick out.
Right.
You know, you have to feel confident that the venue you picked is the place that you really want. Like it's all confidence.
Yeah. I didn't know any of that. That's awesome though. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely not an easy thing to do. I mean, I'm somebody who I'm sure part of it is just that Scott does a really great job making us sound good. Because I watch other things that I speak on and I can't watch them. Like events that I just get put on the spot and I have to speak at.
Yeah.
Not a fan.
It's good though to have that other people helping you with the show. I mean, even a TV show takes like 30 to 40 people sometimes. I know. And you only see 2 people on the TV screen. Like, where do those other people come from?
Right. Like, there's somebody making all of this look good and sound good in the background. Yeah. But
I mean, even my own thing that I do, I mean, I just, I'm producing it. I don't have a producer like Scott. So, I mean, it doesn't even sound as good as yours. So, even though I have that experience and I do it for a living and I know what I'm doing, it's not always going to be the best.
Well, right. Because you can't, I mean, and it's the same thing. It's like, it goes back to the reorg, right? It's everybody has what they're strong at. I mean, if me and Scott had to switch places right now and he had to come talk to you and I had to make this sound and look good, first of all, I would fail epically. Right. I'm sure Scott could have a conversation. Like, he would do a lot better than I was doing. So she's in there
right now, hopefully getting us on this microphone right now. But
I could turn that camera on. That's about it. But, everybody has things that they're strong at, and then it's recognizing what your strengths are and then what your weaknesses are, and then finding people that complement your weaknesses. Right. You can't, and I know that's something you're going through right now, right? It's the whole co-host thing. It's like you have to find that person that not only your audience will vibe with, but you can vibe with.
Exactly. Yeah. And it all goes back to the same thing, and it's education. Yeah. You have to be able to go online, go to the library, whatever you need to do, and educate yourself on what you're trying to be educated about. Yeah. If you don't educate yourself, like, there's so many things that are going to slip through the cracks. Yeah. I educated myself on radio. I listened to Z100 at the top of the Empire State Building. I listened to Sirius XM. I'm friends with DJs who used to be in Raleigh that owned companies, and now they're on Pitbull's station on XM radio. Like, I've built those connections, and I've educated myself. And as a business owner, you have to do that. Yeah. And as a bride, again, it all ties together. Yeah. As a bride, you have to educate yourself on the vendors that you are picking. Yeah. And on your own wedding. Educate everything that you can to yourself to make sure that is a spectacular day.
Definitely. And I think that's what it all comes back to, right? It's like you just need to really be, I think, honest with yourself on what you want and being able to articulate that. I'm somebody who's terrible at that. I have a hard time being able to be like very direct. Well, I don't know. I go back and forth. I feel like I am direct, but then when it comes to like buying something or like if I had to criticize somebody, I'm not good at that. Like, that's not my strong suit. But like, if I'm looking at a wedding professional and I don't like the way that something is turning out, it's like speaking up and being, but I think that doesn't even have to get to that point if you're honest in the initial conversations. Right. It's like being able to have a plan, think through it, be honest, communicate things, not being afraid of budget, all those things will make you more successful.
Exactly. I mean, it's even like this show. I mean, we had a plan, but at the same time we didn't. Right. I mean, it's just, you have to know kind of the direction that you want to go. Exactly. I mean, it's very important to at least have direction. And at least with being on podcast, you have that opportunity where if you have a hiccup or a mess up, you could either leave it in there for fun or you could take it out. It's your choice. With radio, it was super hard because everything was live. Yeah. I almost had a heart attack the first time I turned on that microphone because I heard myself and I knew it was reaching like 75,000 people at the same time. And I was like, I'm going to screw this up. Yeah. And like after this song started, I like turned the mic off and took a deep breath and I thought I was going to pass out. It was crazy.
Yeah. Knowing that your reach is that wide would certainly make me have a panic attack.
And that's like just per each time that you're doing it. I mean, that station reached like 145,000 people at a given time. That's wild. I mean, all over North Carolina, basically from here to the beach. So, I mean,
Yeah. Well, hey, great experience. Yeah, exactly. Obviously, you are well-spoken on podcasts and radio and and emceeing, DJing, and all that good stuff. So, well, we're coming up on time here. So tell me if, I know I think you've said so many good things, not only from branding and marketing, but just shedding light on the business side of things, which will not only help vendors, but brides too. But like, what do you think is missing right now when you're talking to small business owners?
Educating themselves about what they're doing. Yeah. they want to do something, they love to do something, they're passionate about something, but they don't 100% know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah.
And if they added that education on their industry into their passion, they would take it to the a whole nother level.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
It's just that's what you have to do. So
cool.
Yeah.
Well, let everybody know where they can find you at too.
Yeah. CWDJENT.com and SparkPhotoBoothRaleigh.com.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. I think this was really great. And yeah, we'll just have to make sure when we take that little clause out where you can reuse my pictures because I'm super private, and then we can talk about a contract someday in the future.
Sure. We'll do that.
All right. Well, thanks, Frankie.
All right. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Scott. Whole episode.